Okay, good evening, friends. Today our topic is the world after the First World War. Actually, already we are discussed about the causes for First World War. What are the causes for First World War? So, aggressive nationalism. Okay, very good. Imperialism and also Balkan politics, militarism, secret alliances, and also immediate cause. What is the immediate cause for the First World War? A Serbian rebels attacked on, or a Serbian rebels assassinated the Austria prince. His name is Ferdinand. So Ferdinand is assassinated by Serbian rebels. So Austria attacked on Bosnia. So with the support of Bosnia, Britain, France, and Russia was keen. With for the support of Austria, Italy, and Germany. So Hungary was participated. So the countries which are participated behalf of the Bosnia we call as allied powers. The countries which are participated behalf of the Austria we call as central powers. So the first world war was happened between central power countries and allied power countries. Finally, in First World War, the Allied power countries are victorious countries. So, which countries are won in First World War? Allied countries or Allied power countries. So, the First World War was happened from 1942, 1914 to 1918. After completion of First World War, so many agreements and so many discussions and treaties were made between victorious countries and defeated countries. So for making the agreements or treaties, a meeting was conducted in Versailles building in France in 1919. So Versailles is the building name. The Versailles is located in France. So for the Versailles meeting, all victorious countries was attended, but defeated countries was not invited to the Versailles meeting. Russia also not invited to the Versailles meeting. So this was not there in our textbook. How to remember which country was not invited to Versailles meeting or Versailles treaty? Russia was not invited. Which countries was attended? Only victorious countries was attended to which meeting? To treaty of Versailles meeting. which which countries was attended to Versailles meeting? Only victorious countries was attended. Defeated countries was not attended. So Russia was also not invited to the Versailles meeting because Russia was withdraw from the First World War in the middle. That is, Russia was withdraw in 1917. So that's why Russia also not invited to the Versailles meeting. So in this Versailles meeting, victorious countries or allied countries, so three allied countries was imposed so many conditions on the defeated countries. So the conditions are the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman Turkey empires. These two empires was dissolved and broken up into small nation states. Germany empire also broken up and it was changed as Democratic Republic. The Ottoman Empire also replaced by the Republic of Turkey, and Central Power countries also lost its colonial countries in Africa. Central Power countries lost their colonial countries in Africa. Colonial means one country is under control of another country. That country we call as colonial countries. So means one country is ruled by another country. Suppose for example our India was ruled by Britain. So India is the colonial country to Britain. So means in Africa the colonial countries of Central Powers divided among the victorious powers, and also a large number of new states, new countries was formed, that is Austria, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Estonia, Latvia, Finland, etc. And also Treaty of Versailles. In the Treaty of Versailles, they imposed so much penalty on Germany. Why? Treaty of Versailles imposed so much penalty on Germany because all the Allied powers believe Germany is the responsible for the First World War. That's why Treaty of Versailles imposed so much penalty on Germany. So Germany had to pay war indemnity. Indemnity means insurance. Germany had to pay compensation. What compensation means? Nashta pariharam. So Germany had to pay compensation to victorious countries, not defeated countries. Germany had to pay compensation to victorious countries. Germany also lost its territorial places. Germany lost Alsace and Lorraine to France, and Germany also lost other countries also. So after the Treaty of Versailles, on the basis of Treaty of Versailles, on the consequences of Treaty of Versailles, another organization was formed. A new organization was formed. The organization name is the League of Nations. League of Nations. The League of Nations is the first international organization which was formed in 1920. First international, what is the first international organization in the world? So League of Nation was formed in which year? In 1920. It was formed by the Woodrow Wilson. It was not there in textbook, but League of Nation was formed by the Woodrow Wilson. It was formed 11th January 11th January 1920. Why? What is the goal? What is the objective of League of Nations? The League of Nations objective is to prevent to prevent wars between the countries and settle the disputes between the countries through negotiations. Negotiations means discussions. And also and also it ensure reduce the manufacturing of arms, reduce the manufacturing of arms. And also it works for development of labor welfare and health. The League of Nations have 58 membered countries. How many countries are membered in the League of Nations? 58 countries. What is the aims of this League of Nations? League of Nations is prevent the wars between the countries, and it is settles disputes between the countries through negotiations. And also League of Nations control the arms or reduce the manufacturing of arms means weapons. And also League of Nation is work for development of labor welfare and their health. How many countries are membered in League of Nations? 58 countries are membered in League of Nations. It was worked very success, very well, very good in initially, but it was failed to control the Second World War. It was failed to control the Second World War. So now we are discussing about the Russian Socialist Revolution. Socialist Revolution. So Russia was actually ruled by, in 20th century Russia was ruled by Tsar empires. It was not Tars, it is Jars. It was Jars. In 20th century, who was ruled the who which empire was ruled the Russia? Jars. So already you know, Russia is the vast country. Russia is the biggest country in the world. The biggest country in the world is Russia. Russia was located in two continents, that in Europe and Asia. That is Europe and Russia was located in which continents? Europe and Asia. Therefore the Russia is called as a Euro-Asian power. Russia was located in which continents? Europe and Asia. That's why Russia is called as Euro-Asian power. Russia is the third largest population country in the world. It have 156 million. So the first highest population country is China. Second highest population country is India officially. So officially the highest population country is China. Second highest population country is India. Third highest population country is the China. Which country is the biggest country in the world? Russia. So Russia have so many countries. Russia have comprised. Russia includes so many countries. Ukraine also belongs to Russia. Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. etc. These countries, Albania, Romania, Bulgaria, these countries all includes in which country? Russia. So in Russia, most of the people in Russia, most of the Russian people are depends on agriculture. So most of the Russian people are depends on which? Agriculture. But a struggle was started between peasants and feudal lads. Peasants and feudal lads. Feudal lads means landlords. So peasants means farmers. Struggle started between which people? Feudal lads and peasants. But feudal lads have most of the lands. Which people have in which people hands they have most of the land. Feudal lands have most of the lands. But peasants are paying rent to the feudal lords what or which they tilled. So what they tilled, the farmers, peasants are paying the so much rent to the feudal lords. A struggle was started between the peasants and landlords. After already we know, so Russian Empire was in 20th century. The Russian Empire was ruled by Tsar empires. His name is Nicholas II. So Nicholas II is ruling in 1970. The Russia was ruled by Nicholas II with the help of army and bureaucracy. With the help of army and bureaucracy. What is the Russian empire name? Nicholas II. So he ruled Russia in 1917 with the help of army and also bureaucracy. And also bureaucracy. But Russian at the time of First World War, Russia was suffering with so much economic deficiency, or Russia is suffering with economic deficiency, and Russia army was the largest army before the First World War. But in during the First World War, 2 millions of soldiers, how many millions? 2 millions of soldiers and civilians was died. So it become the largest, biggest loss in human lives in the world. How many people was died during First World War? 2 millions of 2 millions of people was died in Russia. It includes soldiers and civilians. So before the First World War, Russia have largest military, largest armies, but Russia was lost so many peoples during First World War. So the biggest loss, the biggest human life was lost in which war? First World War. And also Russia was supplied more food materials. Russia was supplied more food materials during First World War. So Russia people are suffering with shortage of food. Russia people are suffering with shortage of food, shortage of food. So that's why in March 18, in March 8th 1970, already you know what is the special of March 8th. March 8th, every March 8th we are celebrating, we will celebrate what day? Women's Day. So in March 8th 1917, 10,000 of 10,000 women was came into the Saint Petersburg city, and they take a procession or they take a demonstration, they take a protest against to the Tsar Nicholas II. They are demanding in the center of the Saint Petersburg city. The women are demanding peace and bread. What they demanding? Peace and bread. So because why the peoples, why the women are protesting in the Saint Petersburg city on March 8th 1917? Because of shortage of food materials, shortage of food in the Russia. Why the shortage was came? Because the Russia was supplied so much food materials to the First World War, to the soldiers. That's why shortage of food was came in the Russia. The women's of Saint Petersburg, they came into center of the city, and they started a protest against to the procession or protest against to the Tsar Nicholas. The women are demanding peace and bread. And also workers also joined in this protest. Workers also joined in this protest. Jar really was very upset. What is this going in Russia? He is very upset. So he ordered to the army. he ordered to the army to suppress this demonstration. He ordered to the army to suppress the demonstrators. Even you can also, even a power, if the power was given to the army, even you can also fire the demonstrations. But instead of the firing, instead of the controlling the demonstration, soldiers also demand, soldiers also joined, soldiers also joined in this protest, soldiers also joined in the demonstrators. In just 2 days, the situation was become very sad, very bad. So Jar was left his throne. Jar was left his throne. Jar Nicholas too was left his throne and is escaped from the Russia. Russian people was made a provisional government. Russian people, Jar was escaped from the Russia, and Russian peoples, Russian liberals, Russian aristocrats made a new government. The government name is provisional government. Provisional government was formed by liberals and aristocrats in Russia. This is the first Russian revolution which was happened, which was occurred in 1917. This is we called as, also called as March revolution, because the protest was happened in which month? The protest or procession was happened in St. Petersburg in which month? On March 8th, 1917. That's why it is called as March Revolution. Okay, thank you. We are completed about March Revolution. We will discuss later October Revolution in Russia. October Revolution in Russia. Okay, thank you for seeing this video. Please subscribe my channel.